Hi everybody, welcome to Rational Journey Through Revelation. My name is Brad Cooper, and today we're going to be talking about Historicism. This is one of the four major schools of interpretation with Revelation. So to give you a little background of what it is, Historicism views the book of Revelation and Bible prophecy in general as being a history book. You can look at it and see things like the birth of Christ, the rise of the AntiChrist, all sorts of various European events, and American events like the settling of America by Europeans. Now, it first began in the Middle Ages with a few people proposing this idea that Revelation is a history book, but it really didn't take off until the Protestant Reformation. People like Martin Luther, John Calvin, Zwingli, and others took the view that the Pope was the beast and Antichrist of Rome, of biblical prophecy. The reason they took this view was because they needed a strong biblical argument against the papacy. And what stronger argument than the Pope is the Antichrist? There were a few people in the Middle Ages that made statements like this as well. The strange thing is that the Reformers really didn't like Revelation that much. Martin Luther said he didn't understand it, it wasn't clear, it was very odd, he didn't even think it should be in the Bible, but he accepted it because, it was there, and because he could use it against the papacy. Now, no current scholar today really accepts the historicist interpretation of Revelation. The only church that does currently is the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which has a slightly different form of it, and a few Lutheran synods. Now, here are some criticisms you can bring up of historicism. Number one, for every good date you find that matches up, there are a bunch that don't match up. For example, one historicist argument is that the papal reign began in 538 AD. That was when the Ostrogoths were defeated by the Eastern Roman Empire, and that it ended in 1798 when Napoleon took over the Papal States. There's several problems with this view. Number one, the Pope really didn't gain that kind of huge political authority until the Crusades. Number two, the Pope was kidnapped multiple times. In fact, at one point in medieval Europe, there were 4 popes. Also, even during the time of King Henry VIII, the Holy Roman Emperor had conquered Rome, and that's why Henry VIII couldn't get his annulment, because the current wife he was trying to divorce was a relative of this Holy Roman Emperor. The second, as I mentioned, is that no scholar supports it. The third is that they constantly move the goalpost. For example, historicists back in the day tended to view themselves as being the last stage of Revelation. We're almost at the 7th trumpet. The problem is, with each historical event, historicists may bump it back a little bit. Oh no, maybe we're in the 6th bowl, or maybe we're in the 6th seal. They don't know. They keep on moving back the goalposts because as history advances, you can't hold to the same schools of historical interpretation. It used to be said that a man could preach the gospel with just a history of the fall of the Roman Empire and a Bible. But as history advances, we might learn things in the fall of the Roman Empire are not quite accurate. Then what becomes of the interpretation? So historicism is a very interesting theory. I think the reason why it really died out was because with ecumenicalism, that idea that Christians should bind together, these anti-Catholic views became less acceptable. And also the key historicist of our time arose during that period in which anti-Catholicism was at its height in America. For example, the Seventh-day Adventist Church arose in the 19th century when many Catholic immigrants were coming over to the country. So it falls in line that the mainly Protestant country would be very nervous about these Catholic immigrants and would follow historicism, that the Pope was the Antichrist. Even in the time of John F. Kennedy, when he was being elected, people were very worried that he would answer to the Pope. That's all I have to say for today about historicism. I will be talking a lot more about this subject in depth with many of its interpreters, historical events, and about the Seventh-day Adventist version of historicism. Thank you very much, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.